Alright, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as part of the AWD Application and Web Development 1000 Web Technologies class, I've decided to build a website from scratch. The website will be basically to publicize the AWD program at Rankin Technical College's St. Louis and Wentzville, Missouri locations. And in the last video on this, I very quickly just went in and created 3 pages. So I've got a home page, an about page, and a contact page. Okay, they're not doing much of anything. And I thought about it, and I thought, really one of the things that we want to teach here at Rankin is version control. If you've never heard of the term before, all right, well, that's interesting. If you've never heard of the term before, let's just look it up here on Wikipedia. So version control. All right. Basically what it is it's the idea that you can track changes made to your software. All right. And it's kind of twofold. You can use version control yourself. And then that's what I'm going to be doing. So that if I've got, let's say, 10 versions of this website, I can save it at different points along the way, and if it happens that, let's say I've saved it, the first 7, now I come up with the 8th version of it, and somehow I screw it up, I can go back and revert back to the 7th version, okay? Well, again, the other reason that this is important is not just so you have your own history, but it allows you to save and use and update a project with multiple people working on it. All right, you're going to see that as we go on. Now, the best known, probably, version control system is Git. I don't think Git stands for anything. It's about 13 years old, and as it says, it's a version control system for tracking changes in computer files. I don't want to read any more on that to you. It's free. All right. It says it's free software, and well, I don't want to go there, but let's say, for example, if I go to Git download, all right, here is the home page for it. And if I come there without the downloads, it is right here. Very hard to see right now, but there. You don't need the https:// in front of it, I don't believe. Just git-scm, which I believe stands for sourcecodemanagement.com. That'll bring you out here. All right, as it says, Git is a free and open source distributed version control system designed to handle everything from small projects to large. Now it says here it's easy to learn. Well, if you click there where it says it's easy to learn, it goes to the Git documentation. Now, 2 things about the Git documentation. First of all, there is an online reference manual that goes through all of the major commands. But really, when you start, you probably should be more concerned with, what do they call it, the 80-20 rule, and that is learning the 20% of the commands that you're going to use 80% of the time. That kind of an idea. All right. Now you'll notice too, if you take a look on here, there is a GitHub cheat sheet that's in PDF format right there. And there is also a ping format of this. All right. And it'll fill up. Okay, and I'll let you look at that on your own. Now, a couple more things about this that are very, very important. One is, what you can also get to from the documentation is this. This is a free online book. Now, you notice it's a bit dated. It's 4 or 5 years old, but it's called Pro Git, and every chapter is online. You can download the book into a PDF format if you want, EPUB, Mobi. But you'll notice if I go to Git Basics, there we go. It's just another way that you can learn, as you're going on in here. All right, there are countless videos online. Two more things I wanted to quickly show you on this. One is right here, and I've gone through this tutorial, and don't get me wrong, it's very simplistic. You could look at it in a way, as far as what I'm going to tell you, it's like, oh my gosh, come on. It's a little hokey, for lack of better words. All right? It's under try.github.io/level/1/challenges/1. Got a cat. I think that's the Git logo. But as it says there, press enter to submit commands. Okay, so they want you to start by typing in git init. What that does is that, for lack of better words, that starts up a Git commit. It initializes what's called an empty repository. All right, now if I do Git Status, it's going to tell me that there's nothing to commit because I don't have any files. I don't have anything in there. So the author says, I created a file now. Okay, and we should run Git Status again. So now notice there's a file there. All right, and what it says here is, now it says that this file that's called octocat.txt is untracked. And what that means is, as far as Git is concerned, it's a new file and it doesn't exist as part of the repository. So in order to make it part of the repository, we have to add it. So as you can see, we come in here and we type in git add octocat.txt. All right. Now it's been added to our repository. And if we come in and type in Git Status again, okay, now what it's letting us know, it says, notice how Git says changes to be committed. What happens is the file does not immediately get committed or put into the repository. Instead, it gets put into what's called a staging area. So that way you could pull it out if you decided you didn't want it, work on it some more, or add or remove other files, etc. So the next command we put in there is git commit, and then you put a -m, and then typically what you do is you put some kind of a comment in there. You would probably not say add cute octocat story, but like first git commit. Whatever you put in there for a comment should be something that's meaningful enough so that if you go back in later versions, you can tell what you were doing. All right, so we could say first git commit added octocat.txt file. All right, now it's been committed. So the author says, great, you can use wildcards. So if I wanted to grab every text file that was in there, all right, I wouldn't have to add them all if I have several in there. So for instance, the author says here we want to type in git add star.txt. All right, and it says, I think we may have to put that into quotes. I don't think it matters if we use single or double quotes. There we go. So now, if we do a git status, you'll notice that it shows a bunch of files that we put in there. All right. Now, if we want to add all of them at once, we can say, as I mentioned there, git commit -m added, how about we'll call this second git commit added all octocat txt files. Okay, and it shows that these have now all been added. Now, it says we made quite a few commits. Let's browse them to see what we have changed. Fortunately for us, there's Git Log, which kind of is electronic journal to show you what's going on here. So Git Log, and there it shows it. All right, so notice, add all the files, added, etc. So it's showing them these in reverse order. All right. So it says, great job. We've gone ahead, created a new Git repository for you to use. At this right here, it says to push our local repo to the GitHub server, we'll add a remote repository. All right. So it says this command takes this, which in your case is here. So what we're doing is, for lack of better words, we are kind of creating our own online server here so we can push this stuff to a server. That's one of the key things to working with Git, is the fact that you are able to have multiple people share versions of a file that may be housed on a server. They can each do what's called check out their own copy, make changes, and then check it back in. So Git remote add origin https github.com try git git.git. Hopefully I didn't make any mistakes typing. Did not use the correct URL. https://github.com/try. Oh, I did. That's supposed to be a slash. All right, so success. So it says the push command that we're going to use next right here tells Git where to put our commits when they're ready. So we're going to push our local changes out to the server. So the name of our remote is origin, and that's what we set up right here when we added it. And the default local branch name is always master unless you create a copy. All right, we'll talk about that in a bit. The -u tells Git to remember the parameters, so the next time we can simply just type in git push. So that's what we're doing here, is a push. And we're telling it git push -u, I guess that's user, and that's origin, which is right here. And what are we pushing? The master version. That's our local branch name. Again, we get success. So it says, let's pretend some time has passed. We've invited other people to join our project. We can check for changes and pull down any new changes by typing in, again, not a push, but a pull. So push throws things or puts things or copies things to a server. Pull grabs things from the server and gives us a local copy. All right, so it says, uh-oh, there have been some additions and changes to this. To look what is different, all right, from our last command, we can use the Git Diff, and we want to refer to our most recent commit, and that's where that head pointer comes from. So I can say Git Diff head, and I believe it is case sensitive. And it's telling us that there have been some changes made, okay? So what we want to do in here, if we take a look, move this up, it says another great use for Git is looking at changes within files that have already been staged. A staged file or files is they're kind of in purgatory. In other words, they have not yet been committed, but they're ready to be committed. So we're going to type in here git add octo family, and again, this octo stuff is just what they came up with. All right. It says now go ahead and run git diff with the -- staged option, because that'll show the changes. So git diff -- staged. And what that does is it shows the changes. It says, so now that Octodog is part of the family, Octocat is all depressed. Okay, fine. So we can unstage files, so we can get rid of them by doing a git reset of Octo family. This will essentially remove the file. All right. So as it says, the reset did a great job of unstaging that, but technically it's still there. It's just not staged anymore. It would be great to go back to how things were before we started. Files can be changed back to how they were at the last commit by using the command git checkout, and in this case, --/ space octocat.txt. All right. When developers are working on a feature or a bug, they will often create a copy or a branch of this. Then when they're done, they can merge the branch back with the master branch. This is especially true when you have multiple people working on the same project. So right now, we are still in the master branch, but we're saying git branch cleanup. So we created a new branch. All right. Now if you type git branch, you'll see there's two local branches, one named master and one named cleanup. There they are. You can switch back and forth by using the git checkout command. Try it now to switch to the cleanup branch. Git checkout cleanup. And we get a message that we have switched to that. Okay, so now you're in the cleanup branch, so you can remove everything that you unstaged by using the git rm command, which will not only remove the files from the disk, but also stage the removal of the files for us. And it says we're going to use the wildcard again, so we can remove any and all So we removed all of those. It says now that you remove them, you need to commit your changes. Feel free to run Git Status to check the changes you're about to change. It's never a bad idea to run Git Status before you change anything. Then you can double check and make sure that what you're about to change is indeed what you wanted to change. Right? It says we're almost finished with the fix. So what we want to do is we want to copy or merge the changes from cleanup back into our master branch. So the first thing we have to do is go back to our master branch. And we do that again with a git checkout. All right, so we're back at the master branch. It says we're ready. We're already on the master branch, so we just need to tell Git to merge the cleanup with this. So it's git merge cleanup. All right. So it says you just did your first bug fix, etc. You can use the git branch -d to delete a branch because we don't need the cleanup anymore. All right. If we type in git branch right now, you can see we've got cleanup and we've got master. So git branch -d cleanup. All right, it says success. Now if we do a git branch again, you'll notice now the only thing that's left is master. All right, so here we are at the last step. All that's left is to push everything that you've been working with so far to your remote repository. Git push. We did that, and that's it. All right. So this wrap-up page that's right here, yeah, congratulations and all that stuff, but it's kind of nice. All right. Notice they've got some extra stuff here. Here's Git, the simple guide. All right. So there's a lot of stuff that you can take a look at. Now this was much longer than I'd planned on it being, but I wanted to say one more thing. And that is there's a site that I go to a lot. It's called Udemy.com, UDEMY.com. And if I search for courses and I type in Git right here, okay, you'll notice that when I do this, okay, it'll show me all sorts of results. Someplace in here, and it's not showing the way it usually does, so let's see. I should log in or not. I don't think that's going to matter. But let's see. what they at least used to have in here. It looks like they've changed this a little bit. Well, here's GitHub. Maybe that's what I want. Okay, no it isn't. All right. There we go. There's a price thing in here. So there's 96 courses they have on Git that you can go and you can pay for. But there's also 17 that are free. All right, so you can, here's Get Started with GitHub, etc. Many of these courses, if you go through them, what you will find out is many of these courses, the person who wrote them, it's kind of a starter for a bigger course that you can go and pay for later. All right, so I'm going to come back, and in the interim here, I'm going to try to figure out, I'm looking at possibly going to Visual Studio because I know it has good Git integration, Visual Studio Code. So I'll be back with that shortly.